What are 3 questions to ask yourself before you begin gardening? Number 1, should you start from seed or transplants? If you are starting from seed, that simply means you want to see the growing process from start all the way to that moment of a great harvest. So you control the growing conditions all the way from start to finish. If you decide that you want to grow from a transplant, this simply means that someone else has done the foundational work. They've started the seed, you see the true leaves, you may see some blooms or even some beginning stages of vegetation or fruit on the plant, and you want to take the growing process over from there. So that's the difference between the two. The second question you want to ask yourself is, do you want to start indoors or do you want to direct sow outdoors? Now, typically when people begin sowing indoors, it's because they want to get a head start on the growing season and they want to extend their harvest season. So for example, we are getting ready to begin our spring gardens. I've chosen to start some of my seed indoors, and most people who do that, they either have a greenhouse, a heating mat, or grow lights. I'm just using an open window within my home that gets plenty of sunlight to encourage germination from the seed. I will, however, also direct sow outside, but the difference between the two is when you are direct sowing outdoors, you have to be more mindful of the weather and the temperature. So even though there are some items that I want to begin to grow for my spring, I do have to be mindful of my last frost date for my area. And this simply means that I don't want to plant anything outdoors until the danger of our last winter frost has passed. Because if I direct sow those seeds outdoors and a frost comes, it could damage my plant, it could kill the plant, and oftentimes the soil is so hard that the roots cannot take place. So it doesn't make sense for me to begin to sow those seeds outdoors. The third question you want to ask yourself is, do you want to garden using preventive methods or do you want to just allow nature to take its course? Now, I do both, but my preventive methods include covering up my crop, hand pollination, and companion planting as a method to repel pests, because I do not use pesticides within my garden. And then I also allow nature to take its course. I understand that all of my harvest may not be mine to enjoy because the birds, the bees, the pests, they may get curious. I may have horrible seed germination. So to offset this, I typically will sow more than I expect to harvest, with the understanding that some of my plants may not make it, some of them may be enjoyed by other creatures than myself. So I hope this encourages you. I hope it helps. But now let's see what we can grow.